Waters World is on tonight.
I respect any opinion that my members have, but my decision about how long I stay is not up to them.
Speaker Pelosi under fire from Democrats after more humiliating losses. Waters World debates Nancy's fate.
That's a question, and she should apologize to me.
I confront Jesse the Body Ventura over his lawsuit against America's deadliest sniper, the late Chris Kyle. How often do you smoke weed?
All day, every day.
How often do you get high?
Well, darling, I'm always vibrating on a very high level.
And Waters World flying high at New York City's Cannabis Expo.
Do you have the munchies?
No, I'm just hungry.
Oh, okay.
It all begins right now. Welcome to Waters World. I'm Jesse Waters. Democrats in disarray, that is the subject of tonight's Waters Words. The Democrats flushed $24 million down the toilet in the Georgia special election this week. We all know money can't buy you love, but now we know it also can't buy you a congressional seat. President Trump says we're going to win so much, we're going to get sick of winning. But the real question is, when are the Democrats going to be sick of losing? I hate to give them tips, but here goes nothing. Left-wing celebrities who played a big role in the Georgia special election are leading your party over the edge of a cliff. For example, here's actor Johnny Depp offering what he considers to be political analysis.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president? I want to clarify, I'm not an actor. I lie for a living. However, it's been a while. And maybe it's time.
Depp was forced into apologizing for his bad joke. But this is just the latest example of Hollywood hatred. To Democrats, I say, do you think this is working for you? Think again. You know what else isn't working? The mainstream media and their fake polls setting you up for failure time and time again. Here's what Nate Silver, left-wing political statistician, said about the Georgia race. It means there's a 70% chance Ossoff wins and a 30% chance that math is dead and data is broken. You know who else looked dead? This CNN panel after the news broke that their boy Ossoff was going down in flames. But instead of accepting reality, Rachel Maddow blamed the Democrats' loss on the weather.
If there was a turnout effect from the bad weather today in the district, does that have any partisan implications that you could foresee in terms of what was expected for same-day, election day voting?
Maddow kind of reminds me of Milli Vanilli. Also, the resistance is futile. The only thing being resisted are Democrats at the ballot box. Riots, vulgarity, and adolescent entitlement doesn't play well in Middle America. And just in case there are any Democrats watching, Middle America is the part of the country between New York and California. Furthermore, Democrats can't just be against Trump. They have to be for something. And what have the Democrats been for lately? Gender-neutral bathrooms, Black Lives Matter, open borders, Syrian refugees, and the Paris Peace Accords. That platform might work in San Francisco, but it doesn't work in the suburbs. Speaking of not working in the suburbs, that brings us to Nancy Pelosi. The minority leader has become so toxic outside of California that we should be putting warning labels on her. It's gotten so bad that even Democrats are calling for her to step aside. More on that at the bottom of the hour. But I feel bad for Pelosi. She doesn't even know who the President of the United States is.
Either we win or whoever wins understands the priorities of the American people, and they are not what President Bush, I'm so sorry, President Bush. I never thought I'd pray for the day that you were president again.
So Democrats, if you really want to win again, pay attention to Waters' words. Actually, don't. Meantime, Senate Republicans unveiled their Obamacare replacement bill this week. Former President Barack Obama blasting it on Facebook. Fox and Friends asked the president about it. Take a look.
He came out on Facebook recently. You may have seen it. He said, your bill, Mr. President, not a health care bill. It's a massive transfer of wealth. It's going to harm Americans. It's mean. What do you say to the former president?
Well, he actually used my term, mean. That was my term, because I want to see, and I speak from the heart. That's what I want to see. I want to see a bill with heart. Healthcare is a very complicated subject from the standpoint that you move it this way and this group doesn't like it. You move it a little bit over here. You have a very narrow path. You're talking about a very, very small little path. It's a winding path. And honestly, nobody can be totally happy, even without the votes. Forget about votes. This has nothing to do with votes. This has to do with picking a plan that everybody's going to like. I'd like to say love, but like.
The question is, will he get any Democratic help?
The Senate Republican health care bill is a wolf in sheep's clothing.
He said that he hopes the Senate bill will have heart. So sad, Mr. President. Heartless. Mean and heartless.
These cuts are blood money. People will die.
Joining me now with reaction is White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer. So people are going to die because of the Obamacare repeal bill. That's just shocking. I can't believe you guys would do that, Sean. How heartless of you. But, you know, some of the highlights of the bill, you're getting a lot of tax relief. You're getting rid of the individual mandate. One of the most popular items from a lot of Americans, are you allowed to buy insurance across state lines so there's more competition?
You will be. That is what the next phase of this is. This is the repeal and replace phase, and then there's another part, all of the legislation that accompanies this, one of which is the ability to buy across state lines. The House has introduced several of those follow-on phases. They will go through the House process and then on to the Senate. But that is how we have to dismantle and then put this thing back together, is in different pieces.
Yeah.
That is in what the president has called phase 2 and 3.
Yeah, it's a monstrosity, which is why it's so complicated and takes so long. I think that's probably why the Democrats designed it, though, that way. You have a few, looks like, very conservative senators now taking a stand against the Senate health care bill. Are they going to torpedo this? And what's your message to those senators?
Well, I think if you look at each one of those individuals, they're committed to repealing and replacing Obamacare. And that's what all four of them have campaigned on for over 7 years now. And I feel confident that we're going to be able to work with them to get at least two of them to join us to get this over 50 votes and get it back to the conference committee so that we can finally end Obamacare. But let's be clear what's happening. I mean, I saw the Leader Pelosi's comments. The reality is Obamacare is dead.
Yeah.
This is not a choice between Obamacare and the American Health Care Act. This is a choice on whether or not we realize what's really happening. Obamacare is not a functioning option anymore. Premiums have skyrocketed, deductibles have skyrocketed, and then you go from exchange to exchange around the country, and there's literally no choice left for most people trying to buy health care on the exchange.
Yeah, Sean, isn't that amazing? The Democrats love choice when it comes to, reproductive health or, college or anything like that, but they don't like choice when it comes to health care. It's kind of ironic. Speaking of Pelosi, she's kind of on the chopping block, it seems. Members of her own party saying she might have to step down. On the one hand, she is a big obstructionist, which the White House doesn't like. But on the other hand, having Nancy Pelosi as the face of the Democratic Party has seemed to work for Republicans in congressional races.
Right. Well, in a moment of bipartisanship, I will extend our support for her to remain as leader for as long as she so chooses. Yeah, we continue to be very, very supportive of Leader Pelosi in hopes that she stays for Congresses to come.
Okay. Speaking of bipartisanship, I believe there could be some common ground here. This is the President of the United States talking about potentially putting solar panels on the border wall. Roll the tape.
We're thinking about building the wall as a solar wall, so it creates energy and pays for itself. And this way, Mexico will have to pay much less money. And that's good, right?
All right. Now, is that a real proposal? And do you actually think the Democrats might sign on for something like that? Because that's going to reduce a lot of emissions, Sean.
That's right. I mean, you start thinking about this wall and what it means in so many different ways in terms of the construction jobs and the Americans it puts back to work as we construct it, the gangs that we keep out, the drug trafficking that we keep out, the human trafficking that we keep out, the illegal immigration we keep out. And now the president's added this additional element of frankly, a positive environmental aspect to this. It helps us maintain a greater energy independence. There's a financial revenue potential out of this. So this wall continues to provide huge dividends for our country.
Yeah, and it evens things out after you pull out of the Paris Peace Accords. So there you have it. Last question. So are you not doing the briefings anymore, Sean? Or are we not going to see you there? I keep hearing you're getting this big fancy office space up there in the West Wing. What's the deal now?
I have a really great office right now that I'm honored to occupy. I'll continue to serve at the pleasure of the president. We did a briefing on Friday. We did one every day this week.
Yep.
So we'll continue to do them. I wouldn't fall captive to a lot of what you read in some of the mainstream blogs here down in D.C., but we're going to continue to really robustly push forward with the president's agenda and help articulate the wins that he's having on behalf of the American people.
You're saying that's more fake news, Sean?
I think a lot of it is very fake news.
All right, thank you very much. Have a nice weekend.
You too.
Is the Russian collusion witch hunt about to backfire? The high-profile Democrat who says yes, here next with a warning to his party. And later, my one-on-one with Jesse Ventura. You don't want to miss this.
You know, that's a question, and I expect it from someone from Fox.